Clifford McEwen was a pioneering leader in Canadian military aviation. He served during the Great War, throughout the interwar era, and during the Second World War. Originally from Griswold, Manitoba, Clifford was born in the late 1890s. His family moved to Moose Jaw in 1902, and young Clifford was educated locally. Outside of school, he helped with the family hardware store. Like so many of his generation, the Great War changed the course of Clifford's life. In 1916, just 5 months from his 20th birthday, Clifford enlisted. He joined B Company of the 196th Western University Battalion, which trained near Calgary and sailed for England that November. Once safely across the Atlantic, Clifford transferred to Britain's Royal Flying Corps. He trained in the summer of 1917, and, after less than 30 hours total flying, he was transferred to 80 Squadron and introduced to the Sopwith Camel. Clifford was then posted to a unit in France, 28 Squadron, where he joined Sea Flight, led by William G. Barker. Within days, the unit decamped for the Italian front, where Clifford flew his first offensive patrol. It was an eye-opening flight. While escorting RE-8s conducting photographic reconnaissance, the patrol was bounced by enemy aircraft. Their leader soon found his way to Clifford's tail, and it was only with quick thinking that the young Canadian put his machine into a sideslip and managed to escape. Over the coming months, Clifford gained valuable experience escorting observation planes, flying contact patrols, attacking enemy balloons, and bombing enemy targets. When the armistice was reached in November of 1918, Clifford McEwen was an ace, credited with 27 victories. His wartime career saw him promoted to captain and awarded the Military Cross, the Distinguished Flying Cross and Bar, and the Italian Medal Valore and Croce di Gara. After the war, Clifford remained in Italy as the RAF withdrew, before heading back to England as part of the nascent Canadian Air Force. Both postings gave him the opportunity to fly a series of German and Austrian aircraft, often the same types he had faced during the war. Clifford then returned to Canada, where he joined the Air Board as a pilot, flying civil operations on behalf of the Canadian government. During the summer of 1920, McEwen was sent west to the Pacific to scout a trans-Canada flying route. He had wanted to make the flight himself, but it was not to be. Instead, he returned to Ontario, where he flew an HS-2L on forestry and photography patrols between North Bay and Haileybury. Posted further north the following spring, to the Air Board's Northern Ontario Mobile Unit at Sioux Lookout, he photographed and sketched the Kenora District. From Rockcliffe Aerodrome the following year, Clifford helped direct survey work in the Parry Sound area. After joining the Royal Canadian Air Force in 1924, Clifford was soon the chief flying instructor at Camp Borden. The late 1920s and early 1930s were a busy time for Clifford. He married Helen Claire Bertha Lowe in 1928, and together they would welcome 3 daughters. He attended the RAF Staff College, and after his return to Canada, he served as an instructor of air subjects at the Royal Military College. Clifford then returned to Borden to command the School of Army Cooperation. He next became Director of Staff Duties at RCIF headquarters, before taking over command at Trenton, where he readied the base for the outbreak of another World War. In 1939, Clifford was heavily involved with construction and training for the British Commonwealth Air Training Plan. Another posting included Eastern Air Command, where he organized and planned air operations for ferry service to Europe. Between 1941 and 1942, Clifford was appointed Air Officer Commanding No. 1 Coastal Group in Newfoundland and Labrador, where he worked closely with U.S. authorities to coordinate combined operations against German U-boats. From the East Coast, Clifford was transferred to England, where he was eventually selected to head 6th Group, RCAF Bomber Command, in February of 1944. A stickler for discipline and training, under his leadership the group became a premier unit. Never comfortable leading from his desk, between April of 1943 and March of 1944, Clifford joined his crews on at least 7 operations, including missions over Kiel, Essen, and Hamburg. As the war in Europe wound down, Clifford was named head of the RCIF's contribution to the Pacific Air War, Tiger Force, but the war ended before the unit deployed. For his service during the Second World War, Air Vice Marshal McEwen was mentioned in dispatches, made a Companion of the Most Honorable Order of the Bath, and awarded the French Legion of Honor and the American Legion of Merit. Clifford retired in 1946, having flown over 100 different types of aircraft. In retirement, he worked with veterans groups and served as a director on the board of Trans-Canada Airlines. Clifford died in 1967. The airfield at CFB Moose Jaw was named in his honor in 2003. For his outstanding contributions to Canadian military aviation in a career spanning 2 world wars, Clifford McEwen was inducted into Canada's Aviation Hall of Fame at ceremonies held in 2022.